Welcome to another edition of the Boston Sports Brew. The verdict is out. The vast majority of the public hates the Patriots, although we already knew that. And because of this, the NFL makes them pay. Justifiable? What about Tom Brady's punishment that he received? Because in someone's view, it is more probable than not that he was at least generally aware of the inappropriate activities of the possible intentional release of air from Pat's game balls before the AFC Championship game. We'll discuss this and maybe some socks on this edition of the Boston Sports Brew. All right, Mattious, angry Pats fans everywhere, and throw me in that bunch.
I was just going to say, I bet you're one of them, Droz.
Oh my gosh. It gets my blood boiling. The fact that this more probable than not language, generally aware, whatnot, and the fact that you're going to take down somebody and their reputation based on probabilities and without any proof in America is just ridiculous to me. And the fact that then after seeing all this stuff, after seeing all these reports, what I believe happened was the NFL put it out there so the public could all freak out and say, oh, hey, we hate the Patriots, which we already knew, and then said, okay, everyone but the people in New England are going to be very happy when we dole out a crazy punishment to these Patriots, and that's what they did. They waited, and just in case the public somehow thought that this was, un-American to do, to throw out a crazy punishment, which it is, and they put it out there and let it simmer with the public for a couple days before coming out with Troy Vincent, not Roger Goodell, which is that's a whole nother story, coming out with a 4-game suspension for Tom Brady, $1 million fine, a first-round pick lost in the next year's draft, and a 4th-round pick in the following year's draft. It's unreal, it's un-American, and it's just unfair.
Un-American, yeah, Droz. Do you wear a Patriots jersey right now?
No, I'm actually shirtless.
That's about right. That would have been my next guess.
It's too hot.
Yeah, this is just ridiculous. I mean, what's the date today?
Today's the 14th.
It's the 14th of May. When did the Deflategate start?
July 23rd, I believe. Whenever the game was the 19th, maybe. Somewhere in there. Not July, January. So January 19th, January 23rd, somewhere in there. I forget when they came out the next day.
So we're close to 4 months, almost 4 friggin' months, with something that has to do with a little bit less than 1 PSI, whatever that's equivalent to, when it comes to air in a football, to figure out whether or not someone did something or didn't do something. It is just mind-boggling if you think about it. Like, this is freaking America. This is the NFL, and you're telling me you're gonna allocate resources and the amount of money, and Ted Wells coming out in his report, oh, well, I charge by the hour, towards air in a football. Like, I'm not talking about, like, a large amount. I'm talking about a minuscule amount. Yes, I understand there's rules. You're supposed to have the football at 12 to whatever, 15 PSI. But this is just so minute that it doesn't make me angry, Droz. It just makes me realize how corrupt the NFL is. It really does. Roger Goodell has had an atrocious year. I put stupid quotes and pictures on my Facebook about how terrible of a job he's done. He put up 2 games for a guy who beat up his wife. Everybody knew he did it. Drags the person out of the elevator with the Ray Rice story. Says he doesn't have a copy of the tape, which is complete BS. That is so BS. Roger Goodell is the biggest liar that's out there, okay? And I'm going to tell you something right now. Brady appealed his suspension today. The Patriots made a website. They made a freaking website.
Which was good.
Which is about their appeal towards all the organizational penalties that you just said. And, I mean, I haven't had time to read through all of them. It's pretty much impossible to do with a job here and all this stuff coming out. But the fact of the matter is they just went after the Patriots. Not only because of the Patriots being the Patriots in their past, but Goodell screwed up so much with the Ray Rice thing that anything that happens now, you're screwed. And if you don't go by this dictator's mentality and his dictator's rules, because that's exactly who he is. He's acting like a dictator right now. He's acting like a tyrant. I don't care what anybody says. He's going nuts because he totally and royally screwed up with a domestic violence suit that made millions and millions of people absolutely hate him. And now that Brady didn't want to supposedly cooperate, even while Ted Wells said he did cooperate, but I guess he didn't, now we're going to suspend him. There's just so many inaccuracies all over the place. There's so many inaccuracies with people speaking. There's so many inaccuracies in reports. And now we're sitting here waiting for an appeal process to take place that's supposedly supposed to take place in the next 10 days, where I hear, and everyone hears, that Roger Goodell is going to be the person that hears the appeal. Like, what the hell is that? Like, are you serious?
Unwarranted.
Are you serious?
In the rule book, it states that, first off, that punishment based on rules that are given for conduct in a game that mess with the integrity of the game, you are supposed to have the actual commissioner dole out the punishment, not the senior executive, whatever the hell Troy Vincent's title is. That was not supposed to happen. That is a rule right there. You cannot do that. Troy Vincent cannot dole out that punishment based on the actual rule book. So Goodell was supposed to send that out. Second off, when Goodell, like you said, let's bring up the previous point, because this is a very long, there's so many different avenues to go on this whole thing. But the fact, yes, Goodell had a horrible year. Everybody hated him. So what's the best way to get people back on your side? Go after the team everybody in this damn country hates because of their freaking jealousy, the New England Patriots. And I will harp back to the St. Louis Rams. There are Rams fans that I know personally that hate the Patriots. And before that game in 2001, when the Patriots had been horrible and the year before went 5-11 and they beat them, they said, "Oh, hey, you think your team's got a chance against our highest, greatest show on turf or whatever? You know there's no chance. Just a minute. Now, the biggest hater of the Patriots in the world didn't care before that at all. People are jealous. People hate the Patriots. Goodell knows it, saw it with the public, and he sees this as a way to get himself back in good public standing, and it is pathetic.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just absolutely crazy how many inaccuracies are involved in this entire report. And I mean, the Wells report comes out, 243 pages. Like, are you absolutely kidding me? I'll be honest, I didn't read through the entire thing. I've read through a majority of it. I got the gist of it. I'm probably about, 80 pages short of reading the entire thing. But it's just amazing how all this stuff is out there with Jasinski and McNally and all their nicknames they have, and they're just. Could Brady be guilty? Yeah, of course he could. I mean, but there's no hard facts in there. You're going to go off of we're going to go off of McNally not cooperating or the Patriots saying, no, you already interviewed him 5 times. We don't want to let you interview him again. So that pissed them off. And then Brady not fully being or handing over his text messages or his phone is up. That must mean you're guilty. I mean, it's just insane, dude. It really is. And I mean, Jonathan Vilma came out this week and said, you know what, go after the NFL like I did with Bounty Gate, because the accusations that they had for me were total BS. And that's exactly what's going to happen here. I mean, we're talking about Tom Brady here. I try to look at this from a non-fan basis, and the crime itself, if he actually did commit the crime, is just so minuscule in my opinion, because whether or not it was 0.5 below. Okay, he made an infraction. Like, how about Walt Anderson actually check the goddamn footballs before the game? Because guess what, everyone? He didn't. Oh, God forbid. Roger Goodell.
And supposedly he was told off. He was told off by the Colts, which is not stated in the report. He was not told off by the Colts. In the report, it does not state that, but the Colts stated that before the game, they contacted the NFL and said, look, we think the Patriots have problems with the game balls, which is actually disputed in the report because Walt Anderson, or it's kind of disputed in the report because Anderson says that everybody on his team that was at the AFC Championship game before that day has not previously ever seen McNally take the balls away without official permission before the game after they were reviewed by the head officials. So, and the only time you have game balls, folks, that don't know, is at home games. You have your own personal ball. So at your home games, on road games, this doesn't happen. But these guys had been at Gillette Stadium for Patriots home games that season, and the balls had never left. Which, then how did the Colts know anything about this if the refs are saying that didn't happen, or at least these refs? So maybe there was one road game, but the only game they played against the Colts was on the road at Indianapolis. And so I'd like to know about all that.
Yeah, and if they knew about this problem before the game, why didn't the head official actually record the PSI numbers? Oh, wait, he didn't. So, I mean, why isn't Walt Anderson getting in trouble for this? It's like the NFL hired this guy Wells, just like they hired Wells in the Jonathan Martin case, and I don't care what anyone says. You want to call him an independent arbitrator? Kiss my you-know-what. That's total BS, okay? It's the same. It was the same thing with the Dolphins thing. He's out there with an agenda. He wants to come out now after Brady's agent comes out and defends his client, and they both sound pathetic in my opinion. I mean, just shut up and let the system happen, because if you're going to come out and defend yourself, I just feel like you sound like a weasel slash just you're not having me believe you anymore.
Kind of looks like a weasel, so that's part of it, I think. Ted Wills,
you're just not going to get me. Yeah, you're not going to get me to believe you if you're going to come out there and just toot your horn and back up like a little wuss about all this stuff. And that's on both sides. All right, Brady's agent side as well as Wells. I mean, since Wells released his rebuttal or whatever you want to call it, because you're right, Droz, there are so many side stories with this that our 50 to an hour show is just not going to be able to handle all of them. But it's just absolutely crazy how those two guys have been firing back and forth, and Wells defending whether or not he's independent or not. And back to the point that I was saying before, it's like, yeah, Goodell was supposed to hand the penalty down. He didn't. Troy Vincent does. And now Goodell might serve as the independent arbitrator, like I was saying before. And that's just absolutely, I don't even know a word to describe it. It's unbelievable, I guess. It's out of this world. Like, how can you put up a fight and say that everything's independent if you're going to have the commissioner, all right? And the commissioner is supposed to be in the best judgment of all 32 teams, but that's absolute BS, okay? This was a sting operation. If what they should have done was, hey, Patriots are doing this, let's just check the balls, pump them up. Oh, wait, guess what? We're done, all right? Or let's pump up the balls. If it's a problem, fine them, move on. Like everything else happens. Like, why? We're not artificial crowd noise. Fine, good pick, goodbye. Text messaging Cleveland Browns. I was just talking about the Falcons situation if people aren't familiar. That crowd noise. Text messaging on the sideline of the Browns. Fine, move on. Like, no, God forbid, it's the Patriots. I mean, those are all the integrity of the game things too. You're making all minor mistakes. Okay, minor mistakes. They're supposedly making this like a major one, which I don't understand, but they did, and now we're sitting here like, what the hell's going on? And I mean, after the Wells report came out, and Twitter was blowing up with Adam Schefter quoting like the main parts of it and the probable cause, and I was like, oh, that's it, he's getting suspended. It was just obvious because they were just out to get the Patriots. And maybe I sound like a pom-pom fan, but they're out to get the Patriots.
Like I said before, it's for Roger Goodell, who's had a horrible year. This is the perfect thing for him to do. Go after the team that everybody hates, because the only people that are going to be angry are the people in New England, or as I heard, I think on one of the radio stations up in Boston, the 5.5 states that actually care about the Patriots, and then, the rogue Patriot fans that you find out through the nation. But with even all these polls, you see they all think that Brady is a cheater, the Patriots are cheaters, and da-da-da-da-da. Although I did see one poll where 85% of the public says everybody believes that all teams cheat. So
everybody cheats in every single sport. I don't care what anybody says. You try to find that little thing that could possibly put you ahead. It is what it is. I'm sorry.
But let's get into text messages here, because I say this all the time. I probably have said it to you before, and whether or not like you just meet a girl or you're texting your buddies or whoever your family members, and you send a text message, the context of a text message is always impossible to understand, or not always, but it's very hard to understand many times, and it's a dangerous thing to do because you're like, oh, should I send this text message? Will this person understand what I'm saying? Maybe I should give them a call, because unless it's something like go meet me at freaking, 23rd Street at 8 p.m., it could get a little confusing with the way that people write. Everyone writes a little differently. And it's hard to really know what someone means by text messages. So by basing a report, and that's what this basically all the suspensions and everything came down based on these text messages between John Jastrzemski and Jim McNally. There's no way that you can punish people off text messages. It's ridiculous. I mean, they call people, they say stuff, complaining about beach balls and shoes and all this other stuff. But first off, Jastrzemski is the assistant equipment manager. I read an article about Eli Manning from the New York Times. So if you guys don't think that's a credible source, the New York Times, November 23rd, 2013, Bill Pennington does something on Eli Manning on how he has his footballs prepared. His assistant equipment director does the ball preparation. So first off, all these quarterbacks have these guys like John Jastrzemski, and they go and they make sure the balls are good for the quarterbacks. Everyone has this stuff going on. Now, Brady obviously would have that too as well. Brady did balls for Bledsoe. Somewhere was out there. Zolak, I think Scott Zolak was saying that. Brady did balls for Bledsoe before he played. So someone is always involved, though, in getting these balls ready. And in the case of Eli Manning, it was an assistant equipment director. So that's what John Jastrzemski is. You're sitting there, Brady's talking with him. That makes perfect sense that he'd be talking with that guy. And now maybe he's got McNally helping out, doing the balls, whatever. It's supposedly a very hard process to do. These guys are talking about taking, in Eli's case, they started it in the summer to get balls ready for the regular season. But they even said something, and this is another part about the report, if you think it's not independent or not. Why were the Colts not investigated? Because even in this article, the guy who was the equipment director, Skiba, he says to protect balls, they keep the balls in the trunk that aren't and don't label them as game balls because, quote, that might lead to sabotage. Now, whatever you want to say about that there's in the report, in that article, the fact that it might lead to sabotage is brought up because it's supposedly a superstition. But you never know. And if you want to go with these you never know, like we are more probable than not and generally aware and da-da-da-da-da, then the fact that it could lead to sabotage, maybe the Colts are sabotaging something because, like I said before, the only games where you have balls of your own are at home games. And the game they played against the Colts earlier in the year was an away game. The end.
Yeah, I mean, valid points, Droz. There's just so many side stories with this that I feel like are just going to kept on being said. Good point with Eli Manning. We've already heard of the other star quarterback in the league, Aaron Rodgers, say that he likes to have his footballs above the PSI. Maybe there's a lot more that goes on with this between the footballs and the equipment managers. And if Rodgers is serious, then guess what, ladies and gentlemen? He is going against the integrity of the game. So why don't we just monitor him for the entire year now? It's just absolutely ridiculous that Brady gets suspended 4 games, which is pretty much the same as someone who gets in trouble with PEDs in the league
it is the same exact suspension.
So yeah. Roger Goodell is going to compare a little bit of a ball in its air to PEDs. So it's just crazy. Crazy.
Whatever you want to consider. I mean, worse, if you think PEDs are better, worse, or whatever. I mean, Le'Veon Bell is suspended right now for pot, I believe, and in drinking and driving. I want to say those two things. Are those the two things? It's definitely pot. And LeGarrette Blount as well from the Patriots. But, whatever the case, you're putting the star quarterback, New England Patriots, this guy has a track record of doing nothing wrong ever. And you go after him. It's defamation as far as I'm considered.
Yeah, it's defamation. Of course it is. And I mean, he's getting in trouble and he's getting everybody looking at him because it's the Patriots. And we all know about stupid Spygate, owned up to that stuff,
and that wasn't Tom Brady, by the way.
I know. It wasn't Tom Brady, but we owned up to that. And because it's the Patriots, they just absolutely dropped the hammer on us. And I think a lot of it is, like we said, what both of us said earlier in the show. And it's about Goodell's image. It's about how he wants to try to regain his image because he's had an atrocious year. I mean, for all of this, I already said that Goodell should be fired. It's very hard to get the commissioner fired because that means 24 out of the 32 owners in the league have to be against him, which I don't think is going to happen. But if he continues down this path, though, honestly, if he keeps making asinine decisions like this is going to be the beginning of the end of Roger Goodell. It really is, because if he keeps on getting one owner pissed off at him and then another one, stuff's going to start to change. It really will. I mean, if he thinks he's all high and mighty, bigger than the actual league that he's running, then yeah, I think that could happen. I mean, if you look at this, if you look at the entire Wells report, I think you could put up a case that, yeah, does it look suspicious? Of course it looks suspicious. All right, there's many ways of looking at it. You look at text messages, everybody gets into fights over text messages, or everyone gets into disagreements about text messages because it's a stupid text message. You don't know exactly what's going on in the other person's head when they write the words. You can look at it a different way. All right, you can think something. You can think it's the total opposite, and that's pretty much how the Wells report is. I mean, and the information that they got, they're just putting all this probable cause into it, and you can't convict someone. You can't just say they probably did something and give them all of this unless you have like direct evidence. And there's no direct evidence in there. There's only one thing that could happen. I mean, you could fine the team, fine. I mean, go for it. If you're going to talk about suspension, if Brady's somehow involved, I don't feel like he should get any more than one game. All right? And if that was the case, he probably would appeal it and it would go away. But this whole entire Deflategate is just laughable, in my opinion. It shouldn't have been a story. It shouldn't be as big as it is. You turn on CNN, Deflategate. Turn on Fox, Deflategate. Like, are you serious? Our nightly news is putting this stupid story all over the place, and maybe it's exactly what the NFL wants. And it probably is exactly what the NFL wants.
It is what they want.
The NFL wants it to be on all the look at Roger Goodell. He's punishing the face, or one of the faces of the NFL. The golden boy, the boy who does nothing wrong. And like you said, he's dropping this on him. And you know what? If I was Brady, I'd hire everyone in my brother, because him and Giselle have millions of dollars, because it's going right after his character. It really is. And it's pretty much making him turn into a villain. And we don't know exactly if he did anything wrong, because he as the individual has said he's done nothing wrong. So either one, he's lying, okay, or he's not lying. And you either have to take his word or you don't take his word. And in the Wells report is saying that he's lying. Exactly. Obviously, they're saying that, nope, you're lying. We have this circumstantial evidence out there that you made a mistake, and now we're going to lay the hammer down and take away 25% of your season.
And I want to harp back on your first point. My initial reaction when I found out about this whole complaining about deflated footballs, when I was driving my mother to Florida, in Georgia, in a gas station, and someone goes, "What, y'all know what your boys did now?" and tell me about these deflated footballs. I laughed. I had my Patriots hat on, I was driving around, whatever, my Patriots beanie, and I thought it was ridiculous. And then, I get back a couple days later, get back up here because I kind of was offset from TVs and find out all this had happened, or craziness had happened. This was, back in January. But now we're talking about it. First off, when this report came out is suspicious, because the fact that we waited until after the NFL draft, you want to keep the NFL in the news. So what do? They wait a little bit, then they put it out there, and then everyone reacts. They don't hand down any punishment until they can see how everyone reacted, which of course was in hatred of the Patriots, and then doled out the punishment on Monday. But beyond that, not Goodell, just the Goodell, but the NFL is taking someone's likeness and assassinating his character. They're assassinating Tom Brady's character. Brady is not going to be able to get over this pretty much ever, no matter what. It's like when serious charges such as like a rape charge is put on someone when it's not warranted. People live with that their entire lives. They get that stuff put on them. Now Brady's going to be labeled a cheater his entire life, even if he gets off this scot-free. People are going to sit there and say, well, yeah, go back to this case and whatever. That is BS. And I, you know what, I posted something on Facebook and no one liked it. No one did anything with it. But Donald Trump is 100% correct. Sue the NFL for $250 million or whatever the hell you can get out of them, and show them your reports and everything. Give them your electronic equipment that everyone's afraid to look at, because you know what? Brady probably does have a bunch of stuff from a bunch of other people that he doesn't want anyone to see. Who knows if there's pictures or not? I know Ted Wells said you can sit there and stare at the stuff at the same time, but who knows what the hell he's going to go and push through anyways. And those text messages, as everyone has pointed out, I don't know if anyone's listened, were all obviously going to be in Jastrzemski's phone as well, because they were back and forth text messages. But whatever. This is America. You cannot defame somebody's character with probablys. It's just BS. Jeff Van Gundy came out. He said it like that, and obviously I would agree with that beforehand. I've heard him say it as well, but it's ridiculous. It's character assassination. You do not do that to someone without very good proof. I mean, would you like that if someone did that to you? Would you like that if someone did that to you?
Oh, I love it. I love it. No, of course, nobody would love it. It's just, for the outside viewer, you look at it and it's laughable. It's just amazing how the dictator Goodell is doing exactly whatever he wants to do to get what he wants out of this entire situation. And independent, no, not at all. It's just like the Jonathan Martin report when Wells did that. You knew what was going to happen. And when the report came out, and like I said, I started reading it, I'm like, oh, the probability up. They have this up. I was like, nope. And before all this happened, I felt like I had a feeling it was going to be like a four-game punishment. That's honestly what I thought. I'm not being the Monday morning quarterback and patting myself in the back, but if I had to think of it, I thought it was going to be 4 games. Did I actually believe that it would be that it should be that high? No, but it's the NFL, and they've had a terrible year. They've screwed up. They wanted to drop the hammer, and that's exactly what they did. When I found out the team was involved with the draft picks, that's what blew me out of the water. I mean, if you're going to find the team, then why isn't Bill Belichick involved? Okay, why isn't Bill Belichick fined whatsoever? I mean, Sean Payton knew about Bountygate and all that stuff, and Greg Williams. Well, you're telling me Bill Belichick had no clue whatsoever? I know he came out in his press conference and made his weird Mona Lisa DeVito comment and saying how he doesn't know anything about how Tom likes his footballs and this, that, and the other, but if you're as detailed as supposedly the Patriots are, how or why isn't Belichick involved in any of this? That was the funny part, in my opinion. That would have been like the complete drop of the hammer. If you suspend Belichick or suspend Belichick for an X amount of games, but no, they're saying that just Tom Brady was involved, so we're gonna go after Brady. It's just unbelievable. I don't think it's gonna go to the court. I think this is gonna be solved. I think that Kessel, the guy on Brady's side, is a damn good lawyer. I think one is either going to be tossed out completely after all the facts come out, or his suspension is going to get reduced to 1 or 2 games.
Yeah, well, look, I think it needs to be completely tossed out, and even then, I still sue. Because defamation of character, I don't care. At this point, they went too far by even suggesting this without proof. After this week, they went too far. This week they went too far when they came out with, or last week when they came out with a report, and then this week suspending them on a report of probablys. They went too far. They go to court, and he freaking sues them to death. Tom Brady, that is. As for the team, they were exonerated in this report by Ted Wells. They got suspended because of the belief that, it's like if you went to a bar and the bartender overserved somebody and that person went out and got into a car accident, they would sue the bar. I think that's BS, actually, personally, because if you're going to drink or whatever, then you should stop. But if you want to put the blame on the establishment, that's fine. That seems to be what we do here in America. So you're going to put it on the Patriots. That's just consistent with the fact that they suspended Brady. I think they're both wrong. I think it's both wrong. I think it's both BS bullshit. But I'll say that it is consistent. If they're going to suspend Brady, then of course they're going to put something on the Patriots. The first round pick and the 4th round pick we've never heard of this before.
So you thought the Patriots as a team, the organization, was going to get in trouble?
No, I thought nobody should have gotten in trouble. Nobody on the Patriots at all. known. But what I am saying is once Tom Brady got in trouble, the way that this country seems to work is they go, okay, Tom Brady got in trouble. He's the one that supposedly in their eyes, Tom Brady did made this mistake or did this or cheated or did whatever. And then in their eyes, because he cheated, his overseer is the Patriots organization, so they have to be punished as well.
Well, here's my question with all this, Droz. I mean, you have all this stuff happening, and it looks from the outside viewer as, oh, if Brady doesn't want to hand this over, if this one doesn't want to interview, it does look suspicious. So whether it's factual or not, it does look a little suspicious. Now, I'm wondering, and everybody's going to wonder this, and we'll never get the answer because it didn't happen, but what happens if Brady does that and says, yeah, I like the balls a little bit underflated. For some reason, the balls that night were underflated, and with the PSI and the science and blah, 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 they fell below, and they actually came out and admitted that. I wonder what would have happened if that was said. I wonder if Brady would have gotten suspended. I wonder if it would have been more, if it would have been less. Probably less because he actually came out and said it. I wonder if the team would have gotten in trouble. I mean, that's just another side story that what if all of this stuff that came out, what if it went with what exactly the NFL wanted to hear? What would have happened then? You know, it would be interesting to actually see or hear what would have been the consequences if that was the case.
Well, I actually think you say if it went the way the NFL exactly wanted to hear. I think this is exactly what the NFL wanted to hear. They wanted Tom Brady and the New England Patriots in this position because as stated, I think 5 times on this show, because Roger Goodell has had a horrible year, and it can help validate him with most of the public. Because I don't even know if it can help him that much because they're already so angry at him. But there's 31 other 31 other owners apparently who all are in support of the Patriots getting punished. Now I heard that some of them thought it was a little too harsh in the end, but they definitely still the majority are on board with the punishment given to the Patriots and Tom Brady. So this is making Goodell look bad in one owner's eyes, albeit an owner with a lot of pull, but good in 31 other owners' eyes and the public.
Yeah,
I think this is exactly what they wanted. I think they wanted this to become just like this. They wanted a scandal for multiple reasons, so Goodell could get back, and so they could have their beautiful NFL talked about, 24/7 during the offseason.
It's possible. I mean, I've said it before earlier in the show, and yeah, if you make mistakes as a leader, I mean, I always have the mantra that pretty much the buck stops here. I'm the one who's gonna take the head of the punishment. I'm the one who decided this, so I take the consequences. And it's not happening with Goodell, because I mean, usually if that happens, where you make a mistake, like the Ray Rice situation, that was just total, entirely incompetent decision that absolutely spat on any person, male or female, who's been involved in a domestic abuse situation in your country, and totally slap on the wrist. It was just awful in all shapes and forms. If you make a decision, if you make a mistake that bad, normally you get fired. Okay? And I said in one of our previous shows, Droz, if minion jobs that we do, if we do something that bad, we're going to get fired. And I mean, that's exactly what it should have happened to Goodell. He's had all of these bad decisions throughout the entire year that, yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe he did want to have this happen. So not only the league is all over the news, but they're going after everybody. It doesn't matter who you are. And if you're going to do anything to the league, or my league, as Goodell would probably say, then you're going to be held accountable for it. And it's going to be interesting, man. I mean, it's 10 days later is going to be, I think, Monday. So we'll find out Sunday or Monday, and we're going to find out exactly what's going to happen with this appeal process, because that's how long they have. They have up to 10 days. So we'll find out sooner or later who's going to be the independent arbitrator for this. But good God Almighty, if it's Roger Goodell, this is just a total conspiracy.
Well, yeah, and that exactly would put the icing on the cake. But no matter what has already happened, and Mark, this is 100%. This is irreparable. You cannot repair this.
To go on record, you seem to have the case that they didn't do anything wrong, and there should be no punishment whatsoever. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay.
100%.
I feel like there's some suspicion there. I do feel like there should be some type of punishment associated with this. So I just think it's way too high. Like I said, I think it should have been a fine or maybe 1-game suspension, and that's what I would say. But besides that, like, to go 25% and the fine to the team and the draft picks is just outrageous in all shapes and forms. So on record, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, we got one of us saying a little bit, the other person saying none of it. And we're going to find out in the next 10 days what exactly is going to happen to Tom Brady and see whether or not he's going to miss a quarter of the season or if it's cut down.
But once again, this is irreparable. And no matter what the issue is, even if they completely exonerate Brady and get rid of the suspension, I don't care. You messed with a man's character. That's character assassination. That is horrible, horrendous, and inexcusable, un-American, and I am sickened. And they should be sued, and it should be bad. And hell should rain down on the NFL and Roger Goodell and his minions, because this was just wrong. Just wrong. Flat out wrong, man. All right, Red Sox, because I can't do any more of this. I'm losing it. The Red Sox. All right, yeah. The Red Sox, on the other hand, they're on the West Coast in Oakland doing their thing, actually getting good pitching performance. I'm trying to get a little happy here with Wade Miley. Smiley Miley. He a shutout in whatever Wednesday night's game. They beat the Athletics. I'm not saying the Athletics have been that great this year, but like we said last week, the Sox have not played well on the West Coast. They won 2 of 3 in the Oakland series. Seattle's next. They won the last game against Toronto, so that's 3 out of 4, Mattious. They're doing a little. I know this is a baseball season, and really 4 games means absolutely nothing when you have 162, but, I mean, if we're going to talk about Thursday, May 14th, the last 4 games have been nice.
Yeah, the last 4 games have been nice. I don't really think anything's changed, though, if you look at what's been going on. We have my boy Clay Buchholz going out and pitching okay in Toronto, winning that last game to avoid the sweep, where they got beat 7-0 and 7-1 the 2 games before that. And they follow up with a 11-inning game where Pablo hits the home run at the first game in Oakland on Monday. And then Masterson pretty much poops his pants and now is on the DL, which he has come out and said that he is completely not happy about, and he feels like if they were doing better, he would have a better chance. But, hey, Masterson, your stuff has been atrocious the entire year. You are just god-awful against lefties. I don't have a problem with that move whatsoever. And then yesterday beating Sonny Gray, who's one of the best pitchers in the league, that was a pretty good win. But, I mean, if you look at what's going on, they are where they are. The entire road trip, these 4 games in Seattle where they're going to be facing 3 left-handers as well as the best pitcher in baseball, Felix Hernandez, I think is going to be a little bit more telling than the Oakland series, because Seattle, even though their record is comparable to ours, I feel like is going to be, in the end, better. I did say that they are going to win the American East, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm not going to be down on them. So I feel like this series is going to be a little bit more important than, say, that Oakland series, because Oakland is just not good. And their record indicates that so far. I know 30, 40 games in, but they haven't been good so far. So I'm not surprised the Sox went in there and won 2 out of 3. I'd be a lot more surprised if the Sox go to Seattle and win 3 out of 4 there, because they have had trouble hitting left-handed pitchers. And like I said, going against King Felix, the best pitcher in the league, that's going to be no easy feat. So I'm more curious to see what's going to happen in the next 4 games.
Well, and also they got the bomber Nelson Cruz, who is leading the major leagues in home runs. And I with the pitching the way it is, although they've had a couple good starts here recently, I do not think that's someone you want to have to go visit. over in Seattle. The Red Sox, obviously, not much has changed. I agree. Hanley got back quicker than I thought. I'll give you that. That's a surprise to me, a major surprise.
Yeah, knock on wood.
Yeah, knock on wood, because anything could happen. He could be out again for something minor for another week. That tends to be the way it's been the past couple seasons. It's not like he goes out for 3 months at a time. He goes out for like a week, comes back, out for another week, comes back, out for a week. So what in the end does that do? Plus, that messes with your hitting. You can't hit as well. In the end, last year, I believe he only hit like 274 for the season. And, obviously he was tearing the cover off the ball to start this year. But the Sox right now, once again, lucky that they're in a division that doesn't appear to be as good. The Rays, obviously losing Drew Smyly's huge, because he looked good. Even when he pitched against the Sox, he looked good, but then amazingly he's hurt. I don't know. I guess he didn't fully recover from his injury, his arm injury earlier in the year, so he's back out. And everybody else, you go to the Yankees that are sitting up there at the top, and Alex Rodriguez, Mark Teixeira, they've hit some home runs, but their average, Teixeira's average is horrible. A-Rod hasn't been that consistent with his average as he was at the beginning of the season, ever since the New York, it was either the Post or the Daily News, but one of them put him on the back page. Rodriguez finds the fountain of juice. So I think that hurt his feelings a little, even though he's hit some home runs since then, and I think he's conducted himself very well. And I told you, I'm on A-Rod's side. And I'm sorry if you all hate that, but I'm on the side when anybody gets attacked completely about something when half the other players are doing it and you decide you want to attack him. I know he made it to it. Whatever. Everyone hates A-Rod. I'm on his side. But
I just think that if you look at the Red Sox stats, they are 16 and 18, but they're not clicking on any pitching or hitting form. There's just so many guys underperforming so far, 34 games into the season with a minus 30 run differential. So statistically, you're 27th in the league, team batting average. You're 17 in OBP, which the Red Sox love. Okay, that's what the Red Sox go after. So right there, that just shows you they are not hitting the ball. It's pretty indicative of the runs scored so far in the middle of the pack, but their pitching has been even worse. Second to last in their rank with a 4.90 team ERA.
Which is actually better, though, than it was.
It's better than it was, yeah. But if you look at all those statistics, you would probably put them even worse than what they are right now. They've got really lucky in the first part of those games. I say like games like 20 to 30, not even 20 to 30, maybe 15 to 25, where teams made stupid errors and they had all these unearned runs. So, in my opinion, their record should be even worse than they are. They should be happy with that they're 16 and 18 because they have not been playing good. There's not been a lot of guys that you look on either side, pitching or hitting, that have played up to their standards. You could put a debate that the only guys on the offensive side have been like Pablo Sandoval and Dustin Pedroia, and pitching-wise, it's no starter has done that good, and reliever has, I guess Yui Hara hasn't been that bad.
He's been solid. You're right. There's really nobody that you're going to go right home about. And definitely, I think you're right. If you look at the stats and then compare it to the record, the Red Sox are lucky. They're lucky to be, even though they're 2 games under 500, they're lucky.
They really are lucky. And there's a couple guys in the bullpen that have done good. Like if you look at the stats, Yui Hara has done good. Tazawa has done good. So the 8-9 and even Lane and Breslow have, stat-wise, those guys are okay, but Yui Hara and Tazawa, just going by their stats, 1.59 ERA for Tazawa, 1.80 for Yui Hara, and both of their whips are underneath 1 for 17 innings for Tazawa and 10 for Yui Hara. That's pretty good, okay? So bullpen-wise, it's obviously they're doing a little bit better than other guys, and I'm actually glad they brought up Barnes. I feel like his power arm might be helpful for the bullpen. But on the offensive side of the ball, where I personally thought that would be the thing that would catapult them to that second wild card spot, just isn't clicking yet. And Pedroia is having a pretty solid year. Hanley, who crazily, if you can actually believe this, has no doubles or triples. He just hits home runs or singles. and
especially with the monster.
And Sandoval are the only guys that are performing up to the standards so far. So guys like Bogarts, and there's a lot of season. I'm not counting anyone out, but I mean Bogarts, Betts, Ortiz, Napoli, especially Napoli. When Napoli is in like people's weight regions of like 171, that's just, I don't understand that. Him getting that surgery to correct his sleep apnea or breathing condition that he had, and he said he was all ramped up this year, and he is just off to an awful start so far. But it can only get better on both sides, and it will get better. But these 4 games, followed by Texas at home, I think are going to either start something or continue exactly what they're doing. I mean, the Red Sox did hold that players' meeting in Toronto.
Yeah, what day was that?
Over the weekend. It was right before the Buckle start. So since then, they've gone 3-4. So I'm curious to see if this momentum is going to carry into Seattle and Texas because of that players' only meeting. We'll see.
Well, Ortiz had weird comments after that because Ortiz was basically like, if you're going to check out now with whatever, how many months left, it's May. So May, June, July, August, September, what is that, 5 months left? The season, it's way too early, and, you can't always understand every word Ortiz says. But just the fact that he even said something like that kind of was cause to pause for me. I don't know who he was talking about, but I'm guessing he was insinuating someone or some guys were feeling that way.
I'm glad you brought up Ortiz because we're all humans, okay? Sooner or later, we're all going to break down, and I'm just throwing that out there. I mean, he's 39 years old. He's not really off to that great of a start. I know he struggled in April before and come around, and we're like almost halfway through May here. He's hitting 143 against lefties this year. Only 2 RBIs, 5 out of 35 hits that equals 2. Is this the beginning of the end for David Ortiz? Quite possibly.
Well,
I mean, it seems to hit guys that are stars like bam right away. No matter what sport you play in, like you don't have it anymore. And I don't know. This could be the year. I hope it's not. I know the Red Sox just love throwing this guy money for some reason in extensions, which I don't really understand. But even last year, his stats were below his career averages, going down. Like his career averages, if you were wondering, 284 average, 378 OBP. Last year it was 263 average and 355 OBP, but he did hit 35 homers and 104 RBIs. But I'm going to go on the record and say that this is going to be maybe the beginning and end of Big Papi.
We've seen this before, but yeah, at some point it has to be the beginning of the end. But I didn't say my comments before just so I can preface or say this. I didn't make those comments saying that Ortiz was the one that's slacking off, even if he's not hitting well. He's the one that brought up the comments that you can't check out in May. So I just wonder who in the world would even be or who even they thought was checking out in May.
Oh yeah, that's the one thing about Big Papi. He is, even though he only hits, he will bust his butt. The only time he doesn't bust his butt is when he takes like 80 years to round the bases. But fine, whatever. He busts his butt when it comes to everything else. But yeah, I would be curious to know who the hell he's talking about because it is only May. We're not that with the 2 wild cards now going on. You're pretty much never out of it, so there's no reason to start checking yourself out. That was just weird. I didn't see those comments. 4.5 back in the division. Couple games out of the wild card. Like, are you insane for anyone? Yeah, you would have to be insane if you are actually thinking that the season's almost is going away. That's just crazy.
It is completely crazy. And back to Ortiz, what's his on-base percentage this year? Or do you have his walk-to-strikeout ratio?
Ortiz's on-base percentage this year, I did not have. I was saying his on-base percentage last year has gone from his career stat on base was 384, and last year it was 355. That was just for his career stat. I mean, this year his OBP is at 311. He's been.
Oh, it's at 311, but he's hitting 160 something.
He's hitting 226.
Oh, 226. Okay.
143 against lefties, 263 against righties. Little worrisome.
Well, yeah, no, of course, but and you're saying the team as a team 17th overall in OBP, which is right 17th. Yeah. You said.
Yep.
Yeah, 17th overall in OBP for a Red Sox team is way off, and I don't know if that's because they're trying to make the pace of play speed up by just swinging more this year because they don't like the rule, or what the case is. But if you actually look at the year where they did horrible under Bobby Valentine, that's when their OBP went down. And then the next year when Farrell came in and they won the World Series, their OBP went right back up. So I don't know what would make them do this, why they're not taking pitches. I know Mookie Betts has been pretty good at the plate, but I don't have everyone's stats in front of me right now, so I don't know. But OBP, that's been the way that's the way the Red Sox beat the Yankees in 2004. Mariano Rivera, that's how they beat them. They took pitches. They took a million pitches. They didn't swing, and Rivera just got frustrated, and that's how they got through those games. Game 4, Game 5, that's how they got Rivera.
Yeah.
And so that's been the
MO.
key to the Red Sox teams.
Yeah.
And if they're not getting on base, if they're not taking pitches, if they're just swinging away like I don't know what teams do that, but if they're not playing their money ball, then they're not going to succeed.
No.
And
I mean,
that's a problem.
Yeah, Ortiz this year, just compared to the last 2 years, 2013 and 2014, he played 137 games in 142. 76 walks, 88 strikeouts in 2013. 2014, 75 walks, 95 strikeouts. This year, through 31 games, he only has 13 walks not 13 walks. He has 15 walks and 24 strikeouts. So if you map that out throughout the entire season, that is pretty close with walks, but strikeouts, that's like 125. So he's on pace to strike out a hell of a lot more than he normally does. And if you look at the seasons where he strikes out a lot, it's not really it hasn't really been his best season. I mean, there was a time there, I think in like 2009 or 2008, where his average started to drop a little a couple of years, and he was like in a 260, and then I think in 2009 he batted like 230 or 240. I mean, it was like one of those years where I think it was one run shy of an RBI, of getting 100 for RBIs, but that's where people started to really think, okay, is this guy going downhill? And then the next year he followed up with a pretty solid year, and then he hit 300 a bunch of years in a row, I think 3 years in a row. But just even looking at last year, this could be the downfall. It really could, because we're all human, and sooner or later your body just breaks down and your skills break down. It's just the way that it is.
And for Ortiz, I would have thought those years that you just mentioned that he was done then. So the fact that he actually bounced back and had these years has been great. Now, he could still come around. It's cold, and as we all know, once it gets warm, it's much easier to hit the ball. We're talking about a guy from the Dominican, so, I mean, not that he hasn't played in Boston all these years, but it is easier to hit in the warmer months. So we'll see. And I know he hit 700 in the World Series. But I'm not going to say he's done yet, but you're right. People do just fall off the cliff, these stars, unless you're Paul Pierce, who, let's just give a shout-out to him for his big shots over the weekend, and then almost a big shot on Wednesday night for the Wizards, our old friend from the Celtics. But, yes, most people just fall off the map completely, and it's over. And that might be what we're seeing from Ortiz. Now, good thing for the Red Sox, once again, they have all these supposed bats, although Alan Craig has been sent to the minors. Jackie Bradley's been brought up. Bradley has not been hitting the ball. I know he was hitting decent, or he's hitting well, actually, in Pawtucket, but he has never really hit well for the Red Sox in these couple years now that he's had chances to hit well. But his defense has been good. They're keeping Mookie in center. I don't necessarily know what their thought process is with that. Maybe just because they want him to be there in the end. But if Bradley's coming up, I don't know.
He's not going to move anywhere. He's going to stay there, especially with Rusney Castillo. He keeps getting hurt. Like, he just got hurt and jammed his ankle in Pawtucket last night, so the 13th of May. So, I mean, yeah, I don't think he's going to be moving anywhere, especially now that he's comfortable. He's getting more comfortable in that position. So I don't think he's going to move. But this is going to be a collective effort, and it's going to be a collective effort where guys just have to be more consistent. It needs to be a consistent thing, and I'm going to need to see consistency out of pitching. The only guy who seems to be coming around a little bit, that one bad start, looks like Porcello is one guy that you can pretty much figure out what he's going to do on a daily basis when it comes, on a start basis when it comes to him, but there just needs to be more consistency on all phases of the game, whether it's pitching or fielding or hitting.
Yeah, the Red Sox definitely need to get some of that. If they hope to move up the standings, even in a weak AL East, they need consistency. Yeah. Everyone needs consistency.
Not one guy is not going to carry this team. I don't think that's going to happen. It's going to need to be multiple guys stepping up their game, and very long way to go. And I think they're going to pull out of this. And if they don't, we're going to look like absolute geniuses by how ridiculous we both thought they were extending Farrell and Sherrington at the beginning of the year. I am not hoping that. I don't like to look right when I think of something. I just make my point on what I believe, whether or not it's good or bad. I hope I'm wrong with that, but if it goes down this path, it's easy to see that they're not going to cut out for it this year, because already the Red Sox fired their pitching staff since our last show, and last time I checked, our manager was a guru pitching coach for a while, so little worrisome on Yorkie Way.
Yeah, it's a little worrisome. It's a little worrisome, I guess, all around Boston right now with all the teams. But we have to wrap it up, folks. Thank you again for listening to another edition of the Boston Sports Brew. We'll be back next week. Thank you for liking Facebook and checking us out on Twitter at BOS Sports Brew, at BOS Sports Brew. Next week, probably more Red Sox. We will know by then what's happened with Brady's appeal, I believe.
Possibly. So, it's up to 10 days, Droz, so we might be on the fringe.
They'll probably make it wait out so they can let everyone marinate this in the public and everyone can out as long as possible. But hopefully we know by the next time we talk to you. But if we don't, then we'll I'm sure we'll have something to talk about, because someone will come out with some asinine comment. But until then, folks, thank you again for listening. For Mattious, I'm Droz. This has been another edition of the Boston Sports Brew.